Let me just say, right off the bat, I had no intentions to make this video. When I finished making the first Why I Hate the Loud House video, I was very proud of how it turned out. I didn't want to make a second part because I felt that I explored every problem I have with this abysmal cartoon. Also, I spent so much time working on that video. Of all the videos I've uploaded, that is the one that I spent the most effort working on. The very first thing I made for Why I Hate the Loud House, which was the compilation of cartoon YouTubers praising the show, was made on the 9th of June. The actual video was finished on the 25th of June, and it was uploaded to YouTube on the 27th of June. I wanted to make a separate video talking about the personal incident that made me hate the show, but other than that, I didn't want to make a part 2. However, I still had a lot of problems with the show that I didn't mention in the first video, and because of that, I had no choice but to make a part 2. This might also be a multi-parter series. I will not let any flaw that this show has go unnoticed. I will showcase every single reason why this is one of the worst cartoons I've ever seen, and why I think that this show deserves to be in the Cartoon Hall of Shame. Right up there with other beloved classics like Teen Titans Go, The Nutshot, and Ren and Stimpy's Adult Party cartoon. I'm not exaggerating. I genuinely think that this piece of shit is on the same levels as those shows. So let's do this. Why I Hate the Loud House Part 2. Unless you've been living underneath the world's luckiest rock, you would know that The Loud House is getting a movie in the early 2020s. The film was originally going to come out in February 2020, but it was postponed. And apparently, we will get news about the movie near the end of 2018. All that sounds good, except for one thing. The Loud House doesn't deserve a movie. And I'm not just saying this because I hate the show. In fact, even if I like this shitty cartoon, I still don't think it would work as a movie. The Loud House is a cartoon about a boy living with 10 boring and generic sisters. How do you make a movie out of that? Lincoln and his sisters don't do anything exciting at all. They don't have ghost powers like Danny Phantom. They don't try to invade the world like Invader Zim. They are not teenage robots like Jenny Wakeman. And they don't have magic fairy godparents like Timmy Turner. They are just boring stereotypes. How could anyone think that a movie based on 11 bland characters could work? There's no good plot for a Loud House movie to work. SpongeBob worked as a movie, because there's a lot of adventures you can have the character of SpongeBob go through. Unlike the Loud House, SpongeBob isn't a slice of life show, so a SpongeBob movie would be fun and entertaining, while a Loud House movie would be boring and dull. The only decent way I could see a Loud House movie work is if they made a vacation movie, where they have the characters go on a road trip or a cruise. Unfortunately, even that won't work. They can't do a road trip because they already have an episode where they go on a road trip, and they can't go on a cruise because we already have a movie based on a Nicktoon that involves the main characters going on a cruise. And yes, I know that Rugrats Go Wild isn't 100% about the characters going on a cruise ship, but my point still stands. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if the movie gets cancelled because there's no other way a movie based on this piece of shit could work. The Loud House has some of the laziest episode plots I have ever seen in a cartoon. I don't give a fuck if it's a slice of life cartoon. That doesn't mean it has to be as lazy as it is. As stated earlier, Lincoln and his sisters don't do anything interesting at all. They just do lame things like argue over who gets the quote-unquote sweet spot of the van, or staying out of a fight between two sisters who are fighting just because one sister bought the same dress the other sister had. That's not fucking entertaining at all. I watch cartoons to be entertained. Everyone watches cartoons to be entertained. After all, who's ever heard of a good cartoon that's boring? The only episodes of this show I can think of that have interesting plots are The Butterfly Effect and, as hated as it is, One of the Boys. These episodes prove that just because The Loud House is a slice of life cartoon, doesn't mean there can't be any unique and interesting episodes. Unfortunately, both of these episodes are ruined by the fucking dream ending. I loathe the dream ending. It's not only the worst cartoon cliche, it's the worst cliche in general. It makes entire episodes of shows completely pointless. Seriously, I dare you to find an episode of a cartoon that uses the dream ending. That doesn't make the episode pointless. I fucking dare you. And because of the dream ending, it's hard to rewatch episodes that have them. Because you know everything that happens never actually happened at all. It's just lazy writing. Speaking of lazy writing, The Loud House is no stranger to it. There are a lot of episodes that have some of the most redundant storylines I've ever seen. One example is the episode Tale of Two Tables. What's it about? It's about Lincoln trying to sit in the grown-ups table. That's it. What the hell kind of plot is that? Let's also take a look at the plot of the infamous No Such Luck. It's about all the sisters thinking Lincoln has bad luck just because Lynn lost a goddamn baseball game. What a pathetic snorefest excuse for a plot. I would rather watch a pal for Gary from SpongeBob. I would rather watch It's a Wishful Life from the Fairly Odd Parents. I'm not joking. I hate The Loud House to the point where I would unironically rather watch the worst episodes of other Nicktoons over the worst episode of The Loud House. Let's move on to the next reason before I fall asleep from boredom. One of the only good things about The Loud House is the art style. I like the comic book aesthetic the show has. It really reminds me of a Nicktoon from the early 2000s. I could easily see this show airing in 2003 or 2004, alongside other 2000s Nicktoons like The Fairly Odd Parents or Chalk Zone. However, even the few good things about The Loud House have flaws. There's one major problem with the show. It tries too hard to be hit with the kids. Seriously, it ruins the whole comic book aesthetic that this show is supposed to have. I already brought up an episode called Selfie Improvement in the first part, but that's not all. There's a Loud House YouTube video where Lola dabs, an episode called Instagram, and in the episode Come Sail Away, near the end of the episode, all the kids just start twerking. It's so fucking awkward to watch. Why do they bother giving the show a 60s comic book feel if they're just going to reference modern day bullshit that will be outdated very soon? It ruins the whole purpose. I can't pretend that this is a late 90s or early 2000s Nicktoon when the show has an episode called Selfie Fucking Improvement. Not to mention, it's going to make the show look very outdated in the future. Dabbing, Instagram, selfies, and twerking are all going to be outdated eventually. What's the point? This is one of the biggest flaws that The Loud House has, and the fact that barely anyone talks about it is mind-boggling. I've seen a couple people talk about how bad The Loud House dabbing video is, but that's it. I've seen nobody complain about the twerking scene in Come Sail Away, despite being one of the cringiest things I've ever seen in a cartoon. And as I brought up in part 1, how is this clip of the loud kids twerking any better than this clip from Teen Titans Go of Robin twerking? Or even the infamous scene from the Powerpuff Girls 2016 where Blossom, Bubbles, and a panda are all twerking? It's not. Twerking is something that shouldn't be in any cartoon in general. No exceptions. Moving on. Let me make this as easy and clear to understand as possible. I'm not homophobic. Not in the slightest. If you're gay, that's fine. If you're a lesbian, that's fine. If you're bisexual, that's fine. You do you. I'm not necessarily hating on the LGBT stuff in The Loud House. I don't hate it, but at the same time, I don't love it. To make it simple, I just don't care about the fact that The Loud House has LGBT characters. It doesn't change anything for me. The show could have Luna be straight, or give Clyde a mom and dad instead of two dads, and I will still hate it equally as much as I do now. There are other problems this show has that I think are worth criticizing, but the LGBT representation isn't one of those things. It doesn't make me hate the show any less, but it doesn't make me hate the show anymore. I simply don't care about it. You know what? I'm getting sick of ranting, so I think to end off this video, I'll list some of the things I like about The Loud House, with the exception of the art style, since I already brought it up. First off, we have Luna Loud, who is the only character I like. I don't know what it is. She just doesn't piss me off as much as the other sisters. Maybe it's because I like rock music, but I don't know. She's the only character in the entire show that doesn't get on my nerves. Next up, I like the little Easter eggs the show has. For example, in the episode Link or Swim, in one part, you can see characters from Invader Zim, The Adventures of Jimmy Neutron Boy Genius, Avatar: The Last Airbender, Rugrats, and Hey Arnold. Also, in the episode Funny Business, there's a reference to the infamous Lost Comic from Control-Alt-Delete, and to the people who think I'm a hypocrite for listing the Lost reference as a positive when earlier I said that the show tries too hard to be hip with the kids, you're wrong. First of all, the Lost reference is subtle. I don't think anyone ever noticed it when they first watched the episode. It's not like the twerking scene in Come Sail Away, where they shove that shit right up your face. And second of all, they're referencing a long-running meme that may never die out. The original Lost comic came out in 2008, and while I don't know if people were making Lost memes around that time, I do know that Lost memes have been around for a while. And finally, the meme that they're referencing isn't a common target for companies to meme. What I mean is, a lot of companies try to be hip and cool by referencing stuff like dabbing or Fortnite or some other trend that will be outdated in less than 5 years. Loss isn't a meme that a lot of companies reference, which is why I think it's fine that there's a Loss reference. In addition to that, they have a little blink and you'll miss it SpongeBob Easter egg in one of the episodes. Overall, I think it's charming that the show has these little Easter eggs in it. If only the show itself had any sort of charm in it. One more positive, and this one kind of hits me hard considering how much I hate this show, but this cartoon made me a fan of Nickelodeon again. Around the time period when The Loud House came out, I didn't care about Nickelodeon or Cartoon Network all that much. I moved on from both networks and focused on other things. Then, around early 2017, I watched The Loud House for the first time. Believe it or not, I actually used to like this cartoon. It wasn't my favorite Nicktoon, but it was still good. Then, something happened that made me hate the show. For a while, it was the only reason. But then I looked back on the show, and I saw a ton of flaws. Every flaw I brought up in the first part and this part was discovered after the incident. I could never look back at the show the same way again, no matter how hard I try. Sometimes, I don't want to hate this cartoon. I don't want to be so negative towards it. I want to be with the majority of people who say that it's the show that's saving Nickelodeon. But I just can't do it. The only thing I can give it credit for is that it made me love Nickelodeon again. It reminded me of how good Nickelodeon used to be, but it also reminded me of how bad Nickelodeon has gotten over the years, and who knows if it will ever be good again. 2018 has been an awful year for Nickelodeon, arguably the worst year in the network's history. We got 2 terrible cartoons based on something that no one wanted a cartoon adaptation to be made of, being Henry Danger and JoJo Siwa. The network has little to no variety in its schedule, and worst of all, bad things have happened to 2 of the most beloved creators in not just Nickelodeon history, but cartoon history as a whole, Steven Hillenburg and Butch Hartman. Steven Hillenburg sadly passed away on November 27 due to ALS, and Butch Hartman was called out for being a bad person, for reasons such as him lying to fans about the Oasis Kickstarter, where he revealed it to be a Christian thing even though nobody knew about that, and joking about the suicide of Timmy Turner's original voice actress, Mary Kay Bergman, in front of Timmy Turner's main voice actress, Tara Strong.
But Tara was not the original Timmy Turner. The original actress was Mary Kay Bergman, who sadly passed away. But she was
such a sweet, sweet lady.
Sweet lady. Mm-hmm. She also did a bunch of voices on South Park when that first started.
Yeah.
She was the mom on South Park.
No, she had a very prolific career. She was awesome.
Doing great. And then she ended up passing away. And I think Tara actually had something to do with that. And so that's probably that was probably your fault. No, I'm kidding. But
it's been such a fucking depressing year for Nick. I hope that the network never has a year as bad as this again in the future. I'm sorry for having this rant take a rather depressing turn, but I just wanted to say that 2018 has been the worst year for Nickelodeon. And as much as I hate to say it, I want to thank the Loud House for actually making me love Nickelodeon again. That doesn't mean that I'm giving the show a free pass, because I'm still going to hate it, and I will make more parts for this rant. But still, if it wasn't for the Loud House, my channel would have probably focused on Fortnite or Frozen Spider-Man videos or any of that bullcrap. I love Nickelodeon. I own at least 100 Nickelodeon DVDs, and it hurts me to see a network I loved so much as a kid become so bad. It hurts me to see the network go through a year as bad as 2018. It really does. I think I should end the rant now before things get even more depressing than it already is. Coming up in part 3, I will be explaining everything wrong with the Loud House's fanbase, and it will be in much greater detail than in part 1. Until then, this is Zerex signing off. Goodbye.